Well, one of our message testing pollsters has said, when someone on the left says climate change, the typical Republican voter is like a 75-year-old white male, and what they hear when they hear climate change it's not the science, it's not the threat to the environment. It's something's afoot that's going to impact or take away from my Social Security or my Medicare or something else that they're getting from the government, and they're afraid that this is going to shift government's focus away from taking care of them, whether it's money for women and children or whatever government program.
They're worried about the political implications.
They're worried about themselves. So when you
but don't many Republicans think about, they just think big government?
Exactly. They worry about big government but what does big government mean to them? It means government's going to be spending money on stuff other than what I want to spend money on. It may not be self-serving. They may have a special interest in where they want money spent, of course. But so the language instead with a Republican voter is talking about their children, their grandchildren, and this drought. The biggest employer in our community uses a lot of water for manufacturing. And with this drought, we could be losing X number of jobs, or your grandchildren are going to grow up in a vastly different environment and have a tougher life. And you can go through the litany of estimated or expected climate change problems in the future that are going to inevitably hit children and grandchildren. That resonates with voters. But there's so much of the debate where it's just, I believe climate change. Why don't you? And you get the pushback because of that tribal and the difference in what language means.
And you're just kind of using kind of the shared values,
right,
on future generations as a starting point. Ultimately, you have to kind of pivot, though, if we want a productive dialogue.
Well, one thing I've been saying without telling other groups, hearing other groups, is that I think faith-based voters are where the real actions are. And with Pope Francis getting ready to come out with his encyclical this summer, it's going to be huge. I think it's going to have an enormous impact because every mainstream denomination in the United States has a climate position, has a statement on climate. Even the Southern Baptists came out last year with one, the last kind of holdout. And already you see leaders of different faith communities coming out ahead of the Pope. And when the Pope comes out, this is going to be electric.
Yeah.
I have a slide here.
And it's all about values.
Values,
to start with.
Yeah. I mean, with conservative creation theory, these are gifts God gave us, all humankind. It's not just you for your generation. This is for everybody. And we need to take care of it.
And free will.
Free will, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Someone that used to be with us wrote a paper called God's Climate Plan. That God put the oil and coal in the ground to store carbon, part of the carbon cycle. And he didn't anticipate that with free will we would dig it up and burn it faster than he could store it.
So that's what we're doing. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, just let me show you this. Pope Francis, there's 78 million Catholics in the U.S., 17,600 parishes, 230 colleges, 625 hospitals.
Yeah. And the encyclical is a doctrinal kind of position of the church.
Catholics are supposed to take it with great deference. So that will filter throughout every community in the country. It'll be shared across different faith denominations. It's going to be.
And when is this coming out?
They're expecting it around July sometime.
Okay.
Yeah. The timing is to try to set the stage for the Paris discussions this fall.
And as president of ConservAmerica, what other efforts are you doing on this front?
We got involved in campaigns with an independent expenditure committee last year and supported several candidates around the country who we understand and believe are good on this topic. We do a lot of work on polling and sharing that information with policymakers, not just congressmen, but conservative think tanks and other conservative policymakers. Because in the end, if there's not this sudden change because of the Pope or because we have a climate catastrophe later this year, the demographics, millennial voters, Hispanic voters, Republicans are going to be outnumbered. If you get a chance, David Frum, who's a wonderful writer, a conservative author, wrote a piece in Foreign Affairs this week about the coming demise of the Republican Party. And it speaks volumes. And one of the things he mentions is climate change. If the party doesn't change its position, official position on it, and act on it, that's going to be one of the nails in the coffin.
And then there is a gap between, the generational gap, between the young Republicans and I mean, R Street Institute. They're here, interesting group, of young conservatives.
Yeah, great.
But really, there's that dearth of that solution-oriented dialogue on the policy side in terms of conservatives.
Yeah, see, we're not putting forward a particular solution. We're trying to show Republicans it's safe to talk about this. That's the first step.
And that's a crossing a threshold.
Yeah. I think we're a lot closer to a tipping point than most people think.
Yeah. Well, Rob Sisson, President of ConservAmerica.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.